Hello, we are Andreas.
And Marianne from
From?
Empowered Awareness.
Yep. And today it's an interview with you, Marianne.
Yep.
And just because.
Well, because we've talked about...
So that people can learn to know a little bit more about you. So first question was, what did you do? Healing yourself and yeah, what did you do?
Well, first I ran around a bit like a headless chicken, like everybody else. I checked out the doctors and see what they could do, because I literally nearly tripled my body weight in less than 6 months. And this was in the beginning of my 20s. And I went back to the same doctors who knew me, and they didn't actually recognize me, and I was treated really badly, actually. So I then went to university libraries to check out the medical texts first. And I spent a long time, nearly 3 years, actually, doing the medical libraries, reading everything I could, and literally stocking up on to the point that I actually realized that I knew far more than the doctors that I was seeing. And they were getting more and more angry because I had really good questions that they couldn't answer.
Yeah, because you were not a persona that was sitting down just listening, what they're telling you to do.
I wasn't. I was already fully aware by then that their medication made the problem, and there was no way that I was taking anything else until I'd figured out the problem, which made them really quite angry, because that's actually dealing with the stuff, not just putting a fake plaster on a symptom.
More than dealing with stuff on the surface, what you wanted to do. And of course, yeah, that was back then, maybe.
Well, back then I had to actually go physically to the library.
Yeah. So then you started.
Well, then I gave up on the medical library. I found a lot in the medical library, but not in the medical section.
Let's skip all this nonsense.
I found all of the alternatives that they call alternatives, and I call bright lights in a very dark period of my time. I found...
Well, traditional, I wouldn't call it... I would call it traditional, because there's always traditions.
Ancient
and traditions are changing sometimes.
And ancient traditions that literally had all the answers. Of course, I had to put them together myself and work things out for me. And I went on a trail of getting pieces of paper, 3-year yoga teacher training course, 3-year nutrition study, blah 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 blah. Also did several versions of Reiki and healing, because I'd had healing in my hands since I was little. Then I also...
And you, of
I
course,
also practiced that. So for 25 years I helped other people with what I learned at that stage in my life. I still had a lot of the weight, because that was related to some serious stress issues and dysfunctional supposed family people.
Yeah, which would be the next question. Basically, what did people do for themselves? I mean, did they have any commitments to what they wanted to do for themselves? Just curiously.
Well, you mean client-wise?
Did they have... client-wise, what did they do
it was
for themselves?
Probably about 30% of the people that I saw, they really learned something, and they changed things. They would take note, and they would come back and discuss and really take personal responsibility and know how to respond instead of react. And we went through all of this stuff, and we dealt with things on every level, like physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And about 30% were fully open for that, and they're doing great. Then I would say maybe also 20-30% started to do that, and then they kind of dropped back into their old habits. And either I didn't see them again, or I mean, I have one really good or bad example, depending on how you see it. I had a gentleman who, well, first his wife had been here, and then she sent him, and he had literally had a really bad accident 30 years before. Come off a tractor, and his head and everything was literally poking out straight ahead. He was totally bowed and walking really badly. And we corrected him with Bowen and other things, and gave the advice and all the rest of it. And he came very religiously for about a year, and then all of a sudden I didn't see him again. And then about 2 years later, I mean, by the year he was walking upright. We'd got the whole bump out, and we had literally, he was going to the gym. He had a completely different life than what he had when he started the year before. And then disappeared. Didn't hear from either of them. So about 2 years later, his wife called again. Can you please see him? Because he's in a mess again. And back he came, and he was back to his bump. And I thought, how did he do that? Overdoing things and doing it in weird ways, but not listening. And this happened to, I think, the third time he came. We were together, so you also met him. And I literally had to say to him and go into a different variety. Now, he was a very well-paid person, had a very high, well-paid job, and he was also on disability, not that much, just a little bit. And when it boiled down to it, on a psychological and mental and maybe also emotional level, he didn't want to stay totally upright and well, because he would lose that tiny little bit of extra stuff. And I just looked at him and I said, well, until you are ready to be your whole self, I can't help you anymore. And I haven't seen him since. That's like nearly 13 years ago.
So that's one exception of.
That's the exception of somebody who says they want it. Yeah. They have all the, and then they won't actually do something pivotal because of something else that they deem more important. And I mean, you're talking about somebody who's earning thousands every whatever, and it was maybe a couple of £100. So he didn't value himself very much. And that's like one example.
Yeah, that's probably because people have to have a strong why they actually want to do it, and the why is not necessarily very effectively connected to another person. That it has to be an inner why that is connected to themselves.
True.
Right.
True. And you have to. I mean, if I'm really honest, the rest were kind of like him too, but they would drop off even faster because they really weren't committed to themselves and their own health. They wanted somebody else to do it for them.
Yeah, and so we developed a business model rather than, empowering others to find out what they can actually do for themselves.
Yes, that's to make it easy.
We empower the awareness of that. That's why we call ourselves like that. And
we know how important it is to actually empower your own awareness.
Yes. The next question would be, what did you do for yourself? Meanwhile,
well, obviously, I also did all of the before I did a course in anything or a year study or a 3-year study or whatever else. I tried it myself, like I would. I don't think there is a alternative treatment out there that I didn't try, because with the huge amount of weight that I'd put on, I lost tiny bits over the years, but the nutrition course really didn't help. But that's a different thing. That's but it was literally, I mean, I tried basically everything. I mean, Bowen was very helpful, but only with the person that was very integer. And then I tried someone else because, I mean, the integer person I found was in London, and we are a good couple of hours away from that. So I found somebody closer, and that was not so positive. But I continued because I knew it could help. But obviously, I realized that there's also a major difference between who you are and also who the person that you have a treatment from or advice from or whatever. So all the way through, I woke up even more, you could say, like enlightened to like, whoa, okay, I have to be aware of that too. I also tried varying Bowen, and before all of that, I had nearly 3 years where I went to chiropractor and then first an osteopath, then a chiropractor, and it did literally bring, because my pelvis was nearly 90 degrees out. It sort of brought my pelvis back, but literally by the time I walked down the stairs from these people, I was in pain again, and I was lucky if I got home. Because it was, and I was sometimes even worse for 3 or 4 or 5 days. So, and then I had sorted myself out for a couple of days, and went back and got pain again. So yeah, no, I don't. I learned some valuable lessons there.
Yeah, also that it's going deeper than just the surface level of reducing pain.
No, because
from the outside or with the help of and support of others. There's much more to it.
There is much more to it, and then it literally kind of carried on until I took the full responsibility of
how you respond
and how I responded to things. I decided to learn Bowen. That took me about a year back then, because I put it together. But like it's very very much the person that you choose to work with. It's not just finding someone, because I've had a lot of people through the years. Some that I've treated the whole family, and they've had excellent results. Right? I mean, I still hear from them every 10, 15 years if something should happen, right? But they would send other people who would think, maybe like I thought with the lady in London, she was too far away. And then they would go to someone else and they would report back to the people who sent them that Bowen just simply didn't work. Which is like with everything, it is true and it's not true. It depends on the person's integrity and the heart space and the space they can hold for you. This goes with Reiki too. I mean, there's more fakery and nonsense out there than anything in pretty much every angle of everything. So you have to, the most important thing is to learn to really know your own heart and listen to it.
Yes.
Because your heart will tell you.
I had also some sciatic issues with it. Yeah, this typical sciatic stuff, and you were like also helping me very, very nice with that. But there was a certain point with me where I had to realize certain things for myself, so that I finally got rid of it and developed other habits, thinking habits.
Yeah, a lot of these things are actually, they start with your thinking.
Everyday habits, posture habits.
I mean, the first thing we normally try to fix for ourselves or whatever, or where we go to first, is the physical, when we have a physical symptom. And that's fine. And it's brilliant to learn, good posture and to be balanced. And,
the posture tells you more than just physical. It's telling you how you position yourself in life in general.
But now you're going into emotional and mental parts of posture and things.
Yes, because that's what we all can do for ourselves, right? And you did, I did. That's the part that is important, most important. Otherwise, some pain which might be just a feedback communication of your body because of the reflection of your own thoughts and emotional state of being. Well, if that is the case, then I just say don't kill the messenger.
Which a lot of people try to do.
Yeah.
But only when you open your mouth to the wrong people. And that's again where your intuition and your own trust in your own heart space has to come in, because without that, life can be really blah.
Yes. Yes, now we are already with 15 minutes and running.
So why don't we split this up so that we can, next time we can also talk about food in a different way, and again the emotional stuff, because literally from back then it took, it took over 25 years to lose more than a tiny bit of it, until there was a couple of major things that happened. I lost some, and then Andreas came into my life, and it's gone. And altogether, I have lost probably around about 26 stones, which Brave AI told me yesterday was around about 165 kilos. So we can talk about that next time, or maybe after we've also talked about Andreas.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you can find us at empowered-awareness.com.
Exactly.
And empowered awareness at
just follow the links.
Just follow the links
that we put there.
Okay, thank you, and we will see you very soon. We promise.
Yeah, comment some stuff and
like and do all the rest.
Share.
Do all the rest. Share.
Bye bye.
Blah blah. Okay.